Now let's get the inside track on a business idea which appears to have the right ingredients. It's street food.
According to Pop-Up Republic, the pop-up food industry was worth $50 billion in 2016.
Globally, around 2.5 billion people a day consume street food.
One firm cooking up a storm in the market is Boxpark, which since being founded in 2011 has used shipping containers to house and establish some of the UK's best street food traders.
Well, the founder and CEO of Boxpark, Roger Wade, joins us now. Thank you very much for coming in, Roger.
Thank you for inviting us.
Just explain the concept to us. Why shipping containers?
Shipping containers, predominantly because I really like the industrial nature of a shipping container. They're obviously also low cost, and when I was looking at shipping containers as a form of build model, I just looked at them and went, well, they're a box, they're seal proof, they're weather proof, and there's also a certain irony about it because a shipping containers effectively changed the way in which we do global trade, and to finally end up with selling goods out of shipping containers to me just seems sensible.
While you're talking, we're looking at images of Boxpark. So you're very, very established in Shoreditch, where you began.
Yeah.
That's very successful. You have started out in Croydon as well a couple of years ago, Wembley more recently. What works?
I've got a mantra at the moment that in business, the days in which you create a business plan and say, this is my business plan for the next 5 years and I'm going to stick to it, I just don't think they exist anymore. I think nowadays in modern day business, you've got to evolve. So we take an example of Boxpark Shoreditch. We started off with a vision of creating a home for independent retailers, and what we saw was the growth was not in independent retailers but independent street food retailers, so we just went with that. So our business model is constantly evolving. Our next development, Boxpark Croydon, was just a food and drink development only. We had a covered roof, and our latest development, Boxpark Wembley, we've we indoors. We can trade 365 days a year, and clearly food and drink is
But all the costs are very low, aren't they, for those who've got, who are selling food? They haven't got rent, which is really high for bricks and mortar retailers. They haven't got business rates to pay. A lot of the facilities, like where people sit and eat, you provide all of that, don't you?
Yeah, the smaller retailers don't have business rates to pay, but they describe us as a disruptor in the industry, and I hate that sort of term, but the way we look at things is that you've got to make it really flexible for our tenants. So our tenants can have a 1 week lease, a 1 month lease, or a 12-month lease. And the days in which retail developers were signing guys up to 20 years for a lease, I think they're over really. And I think you've got to have a lot more flexibility. And you've also got to look at smaller spaces. So our guys can just take out kitchens, and we've got centralised spaces in which we've got cleaners, we've got security, and we're responsible for events.
Just sort of looking at some of the trends, we're so used to talking about a downturn in retail, particularly in the UK where you are based, also talking about restaurants really suffering as people decide to eat at home, save some money rather than go out. We're hearing today subdued activity from Premier Inn, who are owned by Whitbread. Lots of people expecting an uptick in defaults on loans for small businesses. The outlook doesn't look great for small businesses and for discretionary spending.
Yeah, forget all those macroeconomic conditions. When they talk about recession...
But these are real numbers, though. Yeah,
but when you're talking about recession, you're talking about really like 1% or 2%. Actually, what I encourage small businesses is just look directly in front of themselves, really. And our fundamental beliefs is that the customer wants to feel special, that there actually is going to be a great future for retail. Clearly, it's changing. But if you're not special to your customer, you won't exist. I don't believe in the Jeff Bezos world of the future where we're all sitting around our dining room table, we're not talking to each other, we're on our iPads. I think we're all human beings and we want to come together. So we're trying to build places in which people come together at night, that they put away their iPads, they put away their phones, and just have a great experience eating, drinking, and have a great leisure experience. And fundamentally, I think that's the way people want to be. So I believe in a great future for retail. Retail is entertainment. If you're not entertaining that customer, you won't exist. And the internet, it's like watching fireworks on TV. It's nothing like the experience of watching fireworks in real life.
Roger, thanks for coming in.
Thanks,
really
Roger.
Interesting to get your take on the future for retail. Now, let's